Hi, Chris Radonovic here with the Lighthouse team, and today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the in-app mobile messaging product overview. We're going to, as we gain momentum with in-app messaging projects and opportunities, we have taken the learnings and put together some documentation around how to implement the in-app messaging product and how to optimize it. Today, I'm going to take you through a demo of the product. I'm going to introduce you to a document that'll help you understand what's coming soon with the product. We're going to quickly go over the deployment steps. We're going to talk about some considerations that you should be aware of with mobile messaging, and I'm going to show you how you can get support. It's important to note that all documents that you see here are listed are included in one.liveperson, so you can reference them at any time. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to take a look at is a demo of the in-app mobile messaging product. Anthony Kunj-Bahari recorded a great demo that he uses for sales consulting meetings and presentations to prospects. So we're going to take that demo and walk through it. So the first thing you'll see is that in the demo, we show on the left-hand side the consumer experience on their mobile device, and on the right-hand side, the agent experience. When a consumer wants to start a messaging conversation, they open the brand app, click the call to action option, and it takes them into the mobile messaging window where they can type their question and send it to an agent. It's important to note that mobile messaging is always on and always available. The call to action is not displayed based on agent availability, so a consumer can always get into it. Once the consumer sends the message, the agent is notified that they have a new conversation via a pop-up and the one message waiting option in the lower left-hand corner. The consumer is made aware of an SLA, which in this case is the default SLA on the account, which then can be manually configured by the agent if necessary to set a custom SLA. Mobile messaging has the capability of predefined content, just like chat does and web messaging. So an agent can select the predefined content and send it to the customer, and it shows up in the consumer's messaging window. The consumer can go ahead and type their response, and when they send that response, the agent is notified of a new message coming in the conversation. When the consumer sends the response, you'll also see the consumer is provided the updated SLA in a pop-up or a toaster at the top of the window. Additionally, to encourage the conversational aspects of messaging, consumers can use emojis. So using their normal phone keyboard, they can pull up the emoji option and select an emoji, and it is included in the window and sent to the agent and displayed in LiveEngage. Whenever the consumer sends a message, they'll receive an updated SLA notice. The consumer can always get back into the messaging window by clicking the call to action. And while they're there, they've got a couple of options, including mark as urgent and resolve conversation. If they mark it as urgent, it resets the SLA to a lower SLA. The agent at the Connections tab can view all of their active conversations listed by priority based on response time. And they can click the conversation to view a preview pane and then open the conversation to continue with a new message. One of the most powerful aspects of messaging is the ability to send push notifications notifying the consumer that the agent has sent a response. when Anthony finishes typing his response and sends it, on the consumer app, you'll see a push notification come up at the top of the screen. The consumer can then tap this push notification and be taken right back into the messaging conversation window. Then the consumer can quickly respond back to the agents and resume the conversation. So the consumer does not have to stay in the window staring at the screen all the time like they do in chat. They can walk away knowing that they'll be notified when an update comes in. There are two different ways to resolve a conversation. The consumer can resolve it by choosing the Resolve Conversation option, and the agent can resolve it by clicking Close Conversation from the drop-down menu at the top of the agent window. Once a consumer resolves a conversation, they're provided a survey, and when they submit the survey, they have a tag in the conversation window that notifies them that the conversation has been resolved. The agent is able to review that resolved conversation by clicking the Resolved option in the lower right-hand corner and viewing it. And also they can do some filtering in the Connections tab to pull up closed conversations. When the consumer or the agent resolves the conversation and the survey is submitted, the survey score is updated in real time in the data bar and in the conversation information. So thanks to Anthony for that great demo. This demo is also available via the One.Live person website, so you can pull this demo up and use it in your conversations. So now that we've seen a demo of the product, let's talk, let me show you where you can get information on new features coming soon. The official feature list is in the LiveEngage product roadmap, which can be accessed from the product hub or from this direct link here. But we've also created a compilation of all of the features that are coming soon for in-app messaging, which can be accessed via this link, also available in one.liveperson.com. When you pull this up, you can see a description of all of the different features that are coming and what they look like. So now that we have got we've completed a few deployments and have a few customers active, we've created a deployment process for messaging that goes through several phases. The first phase is kickoff, and is a series of conversations that help to educate the brand about the vision and capabilities of messaging. It's important to focus on vision throughout the entire project, but especially in the kickoff. What we find is that while executives and our champions understand messaging and buy into it, the people who are doing the work on the project team are often misaligned. So we have to continue to focus on vision throughout the entire project to keep the entire team aligned on the value of messaging and the capabilities. We also want to make sure to understand the brand success criteria so that we can show value once we go live. We review the project activities. We focus specifically on contact center operations, which is one of the most common questions brands have. How do I staff to a messaging program? And then we introduce the brand to the SDK for the first time, showing them some of the capabilities and how the SDK works. Once we've completed our kickoff activities, we can move into the design phase of the project. It's important during the design phase that we make sure the brand understands the customization capabilities of the SDK, the impacts of staffing decisions on design, and the importance of push notifications and authentication. The design must be in line with the vision of messaging and the capabilities of the SDK, or the project will not reflect the value of messaging longer term. After we finish design and we approve the design, the brand can start coding their app and configuring the SDK based on that design. They integrate the SDK into the app and customize the various features within the SDK that can be customized. In conjunction with that, we can configure LiveEngage to support the messaging program. We can provision the account, create the users, define the SLA settings, and configure the push certificate and authentication settings in LiveEngage. Once code and configuration are completed, we can move forward with testing. We've created a testing guide and a testing use case list referenced here that you can use to manage the testing efforts for the deployments. When testing is completed and approved, we're ready to launch. The first step in launching is to train the agents and establish a control tower. Once those items are completed, we upload the app into the App Store. And once approved, we can push that app live to the public and start to take messaging conversations. Finally, once we're live, for the first month, we can start to optimize the in-app mobile messaging implementation. And we have created a guide to help you with those optimization activities. There are a few things to consider about messaging when you're focusing on a messaging project. First, only iOS and Android are supported, so other platforms are not yet supported with the SDK. In-app messaging does not use deployment tag, so we do not have visibility into consumer behaviors or browsing patterns. We do not know where the consumer has been in the app or what activities they have been trying to complete while they're in the app. What we do know is that they have started a conversation and we can support whatever questions that they have. Surveys are limited to 2 optional questions: the satisfaction question with the stars and the resolution question. Brands have the choice of using one or both or neither of these questions in the survey. Engagement attributes are only available with authenticated integration. Non-authenticated deployments can only pass first name, last name, and phone number to the agents. This means that if a brand wants to share attributes such as a customer type or a value, they must have OAuth 2 protocol integration in place. Skill routing is also only available with OAuth 2 integration and is based on those engagement attributes. So you can route based on a customer type or a customer value, but you cannot route based on behavior. Unauthenticated conversations are not assigned to any skill and have no routing capabilities at this time. Finally, LiveEngage only allows one configuration of authentication. With the OAuth protocol, you have 2 options: code flow or implicit flow. LiveEngage only supports one configuration of this authentication, so you have to plan for the longer-term vision of how the brand will use messaging and authentication to avoid future issues with OAuth integrations. For example, you need to think about whether a brand is ultimately going to integrate web messaging along with their in-app messaging. If the answer is yes, you need to make sure that the decision around authentication flow supports both. If you need help with your messaging opportunity or implementation, the primary source to go to is the mobile messaging Slack channel, #MobileMessaging. This channel is monitored by Lighthouse product and R&D and the LivePerson subject matter experts on mobile messaging. And you should be able to get a quick response to your question. You also have the ability to search previously asked questions in the mobile messaging Slack channel for information that's already been posted. Additionally, the support team has been trained on the mobile messaging in-app solution. So if you encounter issues, you can raise those via the usual support channels. Once again, all of our materials that you see here are available in the one.liveperson site. So you have quick reference to everything you need to start working on your messaging projects. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out via the mobile messaging Slack channel. Have a great day.